Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, super intelligent, mid-range Disney resort loving wife and co-host Michelle.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you added mid-range after the compliments. It was a very sweet compliment.
She likes mid-range resorts, but she is not a mid-range person, wife, woman. She is definitely top-notch.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, honey. Hi, everybody.
Boy, we start these things weirder and weirder every single week, don't we?
I'm sorry. I'll try next time not to divert.
No, I think it's actually all on me.
Especially when you're giving me nice compliments. That seems a little rude. Sorry.
Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there...
Oh, sign up for the newsletter.
Where are we? What are we doing? The dramatic
kidding.
pause, the American Idol pause there.
Wanted to draw some attention to it.
You should sign up for the newsletter because we have a lot of great stuff for you on it.
All right, let's get us back on track.
We have a lot of great stuff for you on the newsletter, so please sign up if you have a chance. We just like to have you be in the Hyperion Adventures know for what we have going on week in and week out, what we have coming up in the future, what we've been doing in the past, and we just like you to be more a part of our Hyperion Adventures world.
Right, and it's fun because it actually gives back and forth sometimes with emails and things, so that's cool.
Yeah, it is. I think it's cool. I enjoyed putting it out there and the responses we get from it. And speaking of that, we did put out a new category for the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame this week. So, building up, what is that new category? It is Best Disney Song. This is going to be one that's really tough to pare down to 5. I don't expect anybody to because we won't. Michelle will put it down to 2 lists of 5. So, but we would like to get your top 5 Disney songs, 5-ish Disney songs, and then when we get the songs that get the most nominations, we'll of course make our final ballot coming up near the end of the year.
Right, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can also connect with us on social media. We're very active on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel. Hopefully you're watching some of these podcasts on YouTube just to see how pretty Michelle is and how goofy I am. If you want to find us on YouTube, just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We'll come right up, hit subscribe, and then whenever we have a new video, you'll be the first to know. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, you can always hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. And we love hearing from you. We love getting some feedback. We've been getting some really nice compliments. It's always sweet. We appreciate that. If you have any questions, though, about our topics or topics that you think if we do a deep dive might be of interest to you, please let us know.
Yeah, we love to take suggestions for topics. Like we got one from Doug Stevenson a couple of weeks ago when we were doing our classic for our Hyperion Adventure Disney Hall of Fame, our classic Disney attractions. And he suggested, because some of the attractions he named were designed by the Imagineer Tony Baxter. And he said, wouldn't it be great to do an episode on that? And so we probably are going to do an episode on him. And we've decided that eventually we may do a series on many famous or maybe not so famous Disney Imagineers that have created so much of the stuff we love within the parks.
Sure. I don't think they always get as much recognition, although I think Disney Plus has been trying to do that a little bit more.
Yeah, we have been getting much more of it now out there. Now that Disney Plus is around, there's more ability to put up videos and such on YouTube and whatever. So you're kind of getting to know them a little bit better for those that maybe aren't as much in the, we follow everything Disney, but we're going to, delve into that eventually here coming up in weeks. And, if there's an Imagineer you want us to explore, please hit us up and let us know.
Yeah. That was a great topic suggestion. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Thank you, Doug. By the way, we are recording this episode on a couple days this weekend because we had a bunch of things to get into this episode and we wanted to spread it up over a couple days. So we are recording this episode on Saturday, September 19th and also Sunday, September 20th, 2020. So just in case we look, if you're watching this on YouTube and we look a little different, we're wearing a little different clothes, whatever it is, just so you know. And also this is so you know, like when we're recording this in case big Disney news breaks and you're like, why aren't they commenting on some of this great big Disney news? Well, we may not have heard about it yet. Like, for example, we know that several shows have already, Disney shows and movie or Disney properties have won Emmys already. The Mandalorian's won several. So well Forky Asked a Question won one. But they haven't gotten to the main Emmys yet tonight, so we're not really commenting too much about them. We may talk a little bit more about that next week. But I'm very excited that so many of these shows are winning Emmys and deservedly so.
Right, exactly. It's made Twitter really fun to watch because, you know, as the time's going on, you're seeing about new additional winners, especially for Mandalorian. Yay!
Yay! And deservedly so. The Mandalorian, spectacular. We're rewatching again as we build up to the Mandalorian season 2. And then that's funny that we speak about that because we have a lot of stuff for you today, including that teaser trailer for Mandalorian season 2 dropped this week. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that.
Why?
Because we love it. It's awesome. It's amazing. Can't wait to talk about it. We also received a couple of Marvel and Disney Plus stories this week. We'll talk about that as well. But we have some special guests that are waiting to come on. We're very excited to bring them on. So let's not keep them waiting any longer. So this is really, really exciting for us. I would imagine it's super exciting for them. You may remember Sonia and Paul from their last visit on our show. Gosh, it's been about 2.5 months, a little over 2.5 months since they were last on. If you haven't heard that episode, by the way, go back and listen to it. It's a spectacular conversation with them. They're wonderful musicians who we first kind of discovered or discovered for ourselves aboard our very interesting westbound Panama Canal cruise. Again, that's another episode you should go back and listen to. Like most of the Disney Cruise cast members, they've been tremendously affected by this situation. Yes. They've been home, but they've blessed us recently with a lot of these wonderful Saturday shows where they've been performing live from their living rooms, and it's just really been such a pleasure, all these Saturdays coming up until recent, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you both how wonderful it's been. First of all, we plan our Saturdays for that time frame specifically. And so it really is something that we always look forward to and be able to have, we make it like our happy hour and we just enjoy it. And I know, for you all, it's going to be strange not to have that. I mean, even though there's some, responses from the people who are watching you, it's not the same as being in a room filled with people, but know that we are out there and loving it and enjoying it, and we're going to miss it. But it's been amazing.
Yeah. So once again, they're joining us, Sonia and Paul, soul duo. The Saturday shows, at least temporarily, have come to an end for now. They did a wonderful show. Go back. You can find these shows on YouTube, Facebook. They're all over the place. Go back and listen to them. But more importantly, they have something interesting to announce this week. Sonia, Paul, welcome back to Hyperion Adventures podcast. We want to hear that big announcement.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for having us again. I cannot believe it's been 2.5 months.
I know.
No. The time has really flown by, hasn't it? Hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So you've been working on something pretty big during all this time at home, and it just dropped, I believe it was yesterday, actually. It just dropped out there. You have a brand new album, Collide, with all your own music, right?
It is all our own stuff. So I've written, I think, 4 of the songs. You wrote a couple of the songs. Your sister wrote the other 4 songs, something like that. So I'm not quite sure how she managed to get more songs on the album than me, but
we know how that works, Paul. We know why she has more songs than you. Come on, that just means you're a good partner for sure. So it's it's a really great album. We love it. We were listening to it this morning. We're really excited about it. We've heard several of these songs interspersed throughout your Saturday shows coming into it, and it's great to hear them all put together. Talk a little bit about your inspiration for this album and some of the songs involved with it.
Okay, so I believe we started working on the idea a couple of years ago. He's written so many songs. And I think the first song I ever wrote was 2 years ago when we started working on the idea of recording an album, etc., etc. I only had that one song. So it was all of his stuff, which is amazing. But I felt this doesn't feel like us. And don't take me wrong, they're amazing songs, but it feels like you. And maybe you should get an album out, but this is not us, we've grown and it doesn't sound so much like us. So with time we started thinking, okay, my sister on the other hand, she's like him, she's written so many songs, and I was like, ding, I know we have in Spanish and in English, and we can add this and we can add that. So we added a few songs by her.
Yes, we did. And we added some of hers. Seems fair.
And also, I've been more, as I said yesterday, thanks to you guys, because you were mentioning this is doing the shows at home. It's so different not having you with us, not being able to see you. But it's been unbelievably fun to finish something or telling a joke and immediately after someone is already saying something, which we don't get when we're on the show.
Sure. Right.
You get the applause and blah, blah, blah.
What applause?
But what are you really thinking about the joke, And someone is like, oh my God, Paul, or whatever, or that song was amazing, which we don't get when we are with you guys necessarily immediately, which is the lovely part. And also, I was thinking a few days ago that putting yourself there, like, playing for you guys when we saw you, who's watching you. They're paying attention. They're actually falling asleep. That kind of thing. But here, when we were doing it at home, it was like, who knows who else is watching,
Right.
And for me, it was so incredibly scary. I was like, who is going to watch us and who is going to judge us and who's going to like us? Are they going to like us? It's not easy. But feeling the love has been so inspiring and so amazing. And this is what has inspired us. As we told you last night, one of the songs was right after we met you.
Right.
And it came to my mind so quickly that it had never happened with me. Never, ever, ever. Like, so free and so just heart, my brain just shut up and never said, ooh, that's ugly, or like it happens sometimes. But it's just the inspiration and the love that you have given us. And some of these songs have been that. You wrote another one very, very recently, which is just inspired on so much good energy and love, and that's basically the inspiration. It's just let it go.
I love it.
Right. It doesn't mean let it go, the song.
Yeah. Nice! Yay!
I didn't plan it, though.
I just realized it's getting dark so quickly here. The nights are coming in really, really quickly.
Right.
So, like 2 weeks ago, it would have been light for another 2 hours, but now it's getting dark, so I'm going to put the lights on.
Yeah, no problem. It's hard to believe that we've already been through, this whole summer here, but it's been wonderful. And we've been so lucky to have those shows that you've given us, because they really have, we've all been stuck at home and in during these trying times, but, those shows have brought so much brightness to our lives during that time. We really appreciate them so much.
Yeah.
It shows when we see you perform, and yes, I mean, it's tough, and we do this from a podcast. We understand that we talk to nobody and just hope that somebody's out there listening from time to time. And I can imagine that's what you're going through. But when we watch you and we see, one, the love that you have for the music, but then even more so, the love that you have for one another is fully expressed so much during those shows. We loved you already when we left the cruise, back in March. But after seeing these shows, we just fell in love with you that much more.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to say too. In listening to your album, the passion for what you do, the love for each other really comes through in those songs. It is so evident, and it's so warming to hear them.
Oh, that's
you.
great.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I'm always amazed because I may be slightly older than the lovely Sonia here. When I first started sort of being in bands and things, the amount, first of all, the amount of money, and also the amount of effort it took to be able to go and record. Right. You had to go into a studio and you had to set the drums up and sound check everything and get a really good drum sound, and this everything on this album was played by either one of us two. Everything all done on my MacBook. Everything's done on my MacBook. Just incredible that what you can achieve now if you can learn how to do stuff and learn the best ways to use microphones and all that sort of stuff. But it's just incredible that you can get the kind of quality that you can get that you would have had to pay thousands of pounds for 20 years ago. You can just, or even dollars.
Right.
Canadian dollars. Or a Colombian pesos would have been hundreds.
So the album, there are 11 tracks on the album, 10 actual songs, and there's one reprise of one of the songs in there, which I loved at the end of it, by the way. It's really well, it's the harmonies, they're layered so well. Now, did you mix them all? You said, did you do it just in your living room right there on your MacBook? Was the record? Did you record them there as well?
We recorded some of them here, some on the ship even we recorded.
Nice.
So some are on different ships. We've got, I don't know if you can see those speakers behind us.
Oh, yeah.
So they're on monitors, little Yamaha monitors. So I've done some of the mixing on that, but mainly on my headphones, which are exactly the same as yours. My Sony headphones.
So good.
Yeah, most of it's mixed on there. And I've got a thing called, I use the Logic Pro, which is on the MacBook. But then I've got a thing called Waves, all of the plugins for a thing called Waves, which is all the stuff that helps it to sound. Basically, we played it all really, really badly. And then
sounds like how we do the podcast.
Not me.
I love it. So, again, the layering in the tracks, it's really well done. To know that you played all the instruments, sung all the harmonies, it's really amazing. I'm going to go ahead and play one of those songs right now, and we're going to go just to the title track, which is one of my favorites right off the bat. I heard it just for the first time yesterday and fell in love with it. So let's go ahead and play the title track from the album Collide.
You break the fall when you make the call, and I hear your voice across the miles. Every day that slips away just brings you closer still. I confess that I made a mess future time reveals. Because they say good things come to those who
So I really love that song. I love how much it feels like, and I know, Paul, you played in a Beatles tribute band at some point. That has such a Beatles feel to me that I felt, as soon as I heard that song, I just absolutely fell in love with it.
Right. We were even saying how No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's quite a few of the songs that I've written. I mean, I can't help it. I can hear certain, if I sit and play the piano, I don't play it like Tchaikovsky. I play it like Paul McCartney. So, did Tchaikovsky play the piano? Let's say Bach. So, whoops, yeah. So, I mean, I automatically, melodically, and the hearing like the harmonies and the chord changes and stuff, you can't help it. When you've been listening to the Beatles for such a long time, you can't help but not copy, but it's there. It's sort of inside.
Influence.
Your DNA.
Yeah, exactly. And you could do it. I mean, I know there are bands that have done it on purpose. They've set out to make a song that sounds like the Beatles.
Right.
And it's not easy to do, but there I don't know if you know "Sowing the Seeds of Love."
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Song.
Yes, great song.
Yeah, brilliant song. And there's so many. There's quite a few others, and but it's not. I wouldn't ever sit down. Apart from we have a song called "Rocket Woman," which it's not on the album. It'll be on my album.
Love it.
It was a rock band. And
but it was super Beatles.
It's very Beatlesy. Yeah, it was done in a sort of mid '60s Beatles style on purpose. It was supposed to be pastiche. But do you know of there was a film called The Ruttles? Do you know of that?
Oh, that's familiar. Okay. I don't know if I could tell you what it's about, but that sounds very familiar. Oh, yeah, it was a kind of a takeoff on the Beatles, right?
Beatles takeoff. Yeah, comedy.
Yeah.
It's so good. But the songs are
amazing.
Incredible. The job that he actually just died. The guy that wrote those was the guy that also wrote all the songs in the Monty Python films and stuff.
Oh, wow.
A guy called Neil Innes. And he wrote all the songs for this Ruttles thing. And they were incredible, weren't they? But they were so close to being, you could tell which one they were making fun of.
What song?
Yeah. Well, you need to watch that. If you've never seen it, look it up. It's so good. And it's so fun.
Put it on the list. We're at home watching a lot of stuff, so we'll put it on the list, add it to it, So, really, I love that song. I love that, that this song, obviously, Sonia, you're Colombian. Paul, you're there's not a Welsh song in here. I don't know. I don't know why there's nothing in the Welsh language. But there is a lot of
bit off the microphone if you're singing Welsh.
But there are some Spanish songs in here that Sonia sings. Unfortunately, we didn't get Paul's song in Spanish. He didn't make the record this time. Maybe the next album, But they're also well done, beautifully sung. I'm going to go to Sonia, and you mentioned the song already, Sonia, the song that this is in English, but it's the song you wrote at the end of the cruise we were on. When you played it yesterday on the live show, and then we listened back to it again on the album, it touched our hearts so much just because we think so fondly of that cruise, and then just thinking of you at the end of the cruise coming up with the lyrics to the song, and then you mentioning yesterday that you're not really confident a lot of times with your songwriting, but it was a really wonderful, terrific song, and that song is There I Was. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it is a great song. It really is. And as I said yesterday, I'd popped out of the room. I literally had popped out for 10 minutes, and I'd gone to see Mike, the ACD, and he started showing me pictures of houses he wanted to buy in Canada on the internet. So I ended up being there for like 2 hours in his office. And I came back and Sonia was sat on the bed and she'd written the whole thing.
Wow.
In that time, she picked up my guitars and just written the whole thing. And she sang it. I was like, wow, it's so good. It's such a good song.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And then you sort of forgot about it a little bit when we came back and we decided we were going to get the album together. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, what about that song then?" And so because you do that. The last song not the last song on the album. What is it? The second but last.
When I See Her.
When I See Her. That as I said last night on the when we were playing that had been going around my head for literally 20 years probably.
Wow.
Just a little bit of the chorus, like the chorus tune. And I got the chords on the guitar, but then I had totally forgotten about the song for probably 10 years.
Wow.
And I woke up one morning here and it popped into my head. And I said to Sonia, I came down and I played her the tune because it didn't have any words. I played her the tune and she said, "Oh, we got to record it. Let's do it for the album." So
nice.
And
but wait, they were talking about my song, not your song.
Yeah, but Classic. Sorry. You're right. Let's talk more about yours. So, tell me, what was the inspiration?
So good. All the songs on the album. We love them all. They're so great. But that one, just because of the fact that we were on that cruise with you, I think it made us smile, but it also put a little tear in our eyes because, thinking about that and thinking how everybody kind of dispersed from that cruise and has gone their different ways. And it was just such an interesting time and interesting things happened. And, the fact that we've been able to enjoy your playing over the last several months now, but just the fact that we've kind of made a friendship with you, we've had you on the show, and it just all hit more at home, at least for me.
Yeah,
and
definitely,
I think
most
that
definitely,
for you,
yes.
from the show. So it's a great album. Please go out and find it. Can you tell our listeners where they can track down this album so they can listen to all these wonderful songs for sure?
Oh, where can't they track down this album? So,
the link of our page.
Yeah, they can go to our page, which is on Facebook.
Yeah.
Go to our page on Facebook, which is Soul Duo Music. And from there, they can send us a message and we will email the whole album and the artwork and everything else. So they can actually just get it. Or it can be downloaded from The List is Endless. Amazon. Well, the famous ones are, I guess, Amazon,
iTunes, Spotify. You mentioned.
And then there are many others that I've never heard of.
You were going down the list on the show yesterday. I'm like, what is that? I've never heard of that before. That's crazy, right?
No, I mean, what's that one?
What is KK Box?
Yeah.
KK Box.
What he knows, I don't know, but yeah.
Deso. Napster. I didn't even know Napster still
Right.
I said that when you said Napster is still out there. What?
I know. So yeah, Google Play, Apple Music, and many other digital outlets.
Amazon as well.
Amazon.
And Instagram and Facebook, which we had no idea you could sell your music then.
Wow.
Yeah,
No
right.
But really, the best place to get it from is directly from them, because that way they cut out the middleman. Okay. Right. So they can get it to you. They get as much of the funding from it as possible. So please go to their and message them on their Facebook page, on YouTube, on Instagram. They are at Soul Duo Music on all those sites. Find them, connect with them. Get the album from them. They'll direct you to a PayPal account where you can pay for it there. And then that's the way they get, the entire proceeds, and no one's taking it out for them. So definitely do it. You'll want to check it out. It's a great album for sure.
Definitely.
So
thank you. You can be our manager.
Yes. So we're going to take you out with one more song from there. I think we'll go with one of Michelle's favorite for this one to take you out. And we hope to have them back again on the show sometime soon. Hopefully sometime when they announce that Disney Cruise is coming back again.
Yes.
So Michelle, why don't you want to ask them about a song first, and then we'll go to it?
Well, I guess announce it is when it comes. I just love that song. I will cry when I hear it. Just love it. I just think it's beautiful.
That worked out really nicely, didn't it? And one of our friends, I don't know if you know, but Rodrigo, who's a guitarist, he's from Chile, but he lives in Canada, and he plays guitar on the ships, and he actually played all of the Spanish guitar on that song.
Wow.
And he's amazing. He came to our room, didn't he, on the Fantasy?
On the
Wonder, and he came and recorded guitar there.
Nice.
And so that song has been floating around for a while, but I wrote it. I think it was just for me to sing, probably. Yeah. And then I worked out that if I changed the words around a little, it would work really well as almost like a duet.
Right.
Yeah. So that was nice. So that actually, Rodrigo is one of the only guests.
Yeah.
On the album.
Nice.
I love it. And that's, I think, I don't know about you, Michelle, but what I love about it is the fact that it does use, lyrics, vocals from both of you in it. So it shows you as a duo so well. Not that, most of your songs don't, but that one really specifically does to me, and it calls out to me.
Most definitely.
So thank you again, Sonia Paul, for coming on the show once again and discussing your brand new album, Collide. We're going to be listening to it on repeat from here on out for a long time until we get back to either a Disney cruise, Saturday shows, whatever it may be. We've talked about booking a cruise specifically once we finally get back there, and you are on which ship you're on, finding that ship and booking a cruise with that, because we want to spend some more time with you in person eventually.
We're not stalkers or anything.
No, maybe a little bit.
But we do want to have
little bit.
No, we do want to have a proper cup of tea together too.
Oh yeah.
Not bags. No bags. Loose tea.
Oh,
nice.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So we'll take you out with When It Comes from their brand new album, Collide. Sonia Paul, Soul Duo, thank you again for visiting us on the Hyperion Adventures podcast.
Thank you, guys. Lovely to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Always so much fun that it goes by so quickly.
Yeah, was that really 3 hours?
I'm watching the evening fall. The darkness will drown. Call
that was great. Really, really excited that we got to talk with Sonia and Paul again from Soul Duo.
I know.
And yes, definitely, please go out and purchase their brand new album, Collide, because the music is spectacular. They're such great musicians, as you've heard already. And you know it's going to be just a great time to listen to and enjoy that, and probably get you through until we get to our next Disney cruise eventually.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, like you said, they're really special. I can't say that enough. And I'm excited about the new album. I love their music, and I'm going to miss them on our Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm hoping that things come together and eventually we get to see them on a Disney cruise sooner rather than later for their own benefit. I mean, let's be honest, they're at home right now and they're not making all the money that they could make. So hopefully they can get back out there and be the wonderful Disney Cruise Line cast members that we know and enjoy, and that we can all sail right with them. And I know we've talked about it already. As soon as they start sailing again and we find a cruise that they're on, we will be there with them.
Great.
So let's get to our main topic of the week. Now, this is a lot of fun because this is actually a lot of interest to many people. I mean, yes, some people go to Disney on a budget. Some people, like our episode, a little few weeks back where it was all about luxury. They go for more luxurious,
splurge,
this is kind of right in the middle there. And that's the Disney moderate resorts, which are actually all pretty good. I think we've stated a few of them. I think you've stated many of them, and we've enjoyed them many times. And so we're going to discuss several of these and talk about why they may be right for you. And of course, we do this always with Michelle, because Michelle has the best deep dives into this kind of stuff. So Michelle, please let our listeners know kind of more about these moderate resorts.
Okay. So first of all, and I'll just run through the names of them and then talk about some commonalities and some things that make each of them very different and special. So you have the Coronado, the Caribbean Beach, Port Orleans, both the Riverside and the French Quarter, and then the cabins at Fort Wilderness. So those are classified as the moderate. And some of the things that we see typically among all of that category is they typically have at least one table service restaurant. Sometimes it may only be for dinner. Then another common element is the issue of transportation, where bus is the predominant and in some case the only form of transportation. And the other thing that's common is most of them are very vast in their geography. And so even with the bus transportation, they might have multiple stops in the same resort. So that might help you in deciding which room you want to try to select when you're considering one of the moderate resorts. And that's not a criticism. It's just, there are some that they are, like I said, they're just really vast and you have lots of stops.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I talked about in a tip a couple weeks back is that you should know that going in, because if you're trying to get to, say, an advanced dining reservation or to get that boarding group for Rise of the Resistance or whatever, and if you're going out and you're expecting, it's only going to take us 20 minutes or whatever to get to the park once the bus comes, you'll need to know ahead of time that maybe it takes more stops. It may take a little longer at some of these resorts, so kind of plan that out ahead of time.
That's true. So when thinking of a location at the resorts, they classify them by views, or you can get just like a standard view, but some of them will like say a pool view or woods view or something like that. And other than the cabins are kind of unique in how they're set up. But other than that, really from a concept that I've observed is it really doesn't matter the view, because you just really have that one single window that opens up into the hallway where everybody walks by. Yeah. So if you leave that window open, you're just, no
Look
privacy.
Here we are.
Yeah. So, you may think about that in the sense that you might not have that window open a lot, even more so than some other type of, regular non-Disney hotels where you could have your windows and curtains open all the time. So that's
again, the one difference of that is the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Yes, I mean, there are people that will be walking by, but you have a little more privacy there.
Exactly. And so so that's something to take into consideration when you're looking at the view. Your room might be better selected by where you want to be. Right. So if your kids or you like the pool, then do a pool view. At least you know you're close to the pool, you know. So anyways, those are kind of the commonalities of them. And then there's some things mainly with theming that makes each of them unique. So these are in no particular order. So starting with the Caribbean Beach Resort. Now, as the name says, they are capturing the essence of the areas in the Caribbean.
It's like being at a beach in the Caribbean, right?
That's right.
That's exactly what it is, right? Just the same.
Yeah. So their target, yes, exactly. So their target, keep talking, honey. I'm just kidding. So
I do that because I don't know the stuff. She knows the stuff, so I have to sound like I know anything, and I don't. So it's a good thing Michelle's here.
The one thing that you do know are a lot of the areas that it tries to pull its theming from. So places that we've been to like Barbados, Jamaica, Martinique, Trinidad, and Aruba. Mm-hmm. So, and so you're going to really see the color schemes, the bright colors, and, you know, the type of music that you might hear in the background and everything all pulled together from those locations. So it really is an exciting kind of an atmosphere when you're there, right. You know, very fun type of atmosphere.
Yeah, agreed.
So
one good thing about the Caribbean beach is they actually do have a skyliner that goes through.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things, again, that makes that one unique is that they did, when they built the skyliner, included that. So that really makes traveling to Epcot and Hollywood Studios a lot easier. That's the one, like I said, where there's a predominance of bus transportation. That's one that has the addition of the skyliner, which really makes it unique and convenient.
Elevates it, definitely elevates it for sure.
That's true. So they also have a lot of the other type of activities that you see at moderate resorts, which would be like they usually have campfire programs, movies under the stars. And one of the things that, you know, as we're talking through this, there are some things that are open now and there's some that are not open yet. So I at first I was trying to distinguish what is or isn't, and it just kind of sounded clunky and cluttered. So I'm just giving you everything that they have, and depending on when you decide to go on a trip and take in one of these resorts, you could look to see what is actually available. But this is just the standard what they've built into that resort.
Right. And if you ever want to hit us up with any questions, Michelle was happy to answer them. I don't know anything, but Michelle does. Sure. So please hit us up, email us, hit us up on social media, whatever. Michelle will answer your questions. I'll just sit there and say, yeah, Michelle will answer your questions.
You're funny. Well, thank you, honey. But they also have some other activities that are fun. So like they actually have a volleyball court there. They have fishing. They have a very picturesque, I can't say that, picturesque jogging trail. Oh. So all kinds of things, a bike rental that can also be available to you if you go on one of these moderate resorts. And that's important too, because of their distance from the parks, you might want to plan a day where you're not going into the parks, sure. And do some of the activities right there at your resort.
Right. I mean, you're at this spot, you paid a little bit more for it than maybe the budget hotels or whatever. Mm-hmm. So why not take advantage of that spot?
Right. Exactly. And as we mentioned, there's typically one table service at least, restaurant at Caribbean Beach. They have Sebastian's Bistro, which has some Latin flavors and some Caribbean flavors. For me, it very much is reminiscent of when I lived in Miami. A lot of the dishes that you could enjoy there are at this location as well. And it is only for dinner, but it is casual dining and it is table service. And then, of course, they have a lot of quick service, mobile, grab and go kind of meals at most of them, including this resort as well.
And I think that the table service restaurant, I mean, obviously there's a few other things that elevate it as well, but the table service restaurant is one of the key things that puts it a step above the budget resorts.
Right,
for sure.
Exactly. So the other thing that you see with the layout, again, not the cabins we're going to talk about separately, but in the moderate resorts is you have your room that has the beds, And then you typically have some type of separation that then leads into an area that has a sink, and then the restroom shower area separate, which is nice because then you can have somebody in the restroom and somebody at the sink getting ready in the morning and kind of help move things along. So that's also very common in all of these moderate resorts.
Yeah, it's really important when you're trying to get the whole family ready. You don't want somebody in there hogging up the bathroom and everybody else having to wait.
Right, right. So in looking at the actual room, since we're talking about the rooms, if you really want to feel like you're transported to the tropics, this is the resort for you, because it really does pull in the color schemes like the orange and browns, and it's bold and lively. Even the sliding doors that separate to the sink area, it's kind of like wood and kind of like thatch it style, or rattan-y kind of. Yeah. I'm not good at describing those, but to me, I love those. I think they're adorable and really add to the feeling of that theme in your room with you.
Cool.
Now, as we all know, pirates are in the Caribbean.
Let's talk like a pirate did today, as a matter of fact.
So
be there rum?
Well, if you're in our room, there is.
That's for sure.
But if this is one of the things that really makes this hotel unique, is that they do have some very special rooms that are pirate themed. So obviously you have your standard rooms, but you can if you're interested, get a pirate themed room, and these are wonderful. I mean, everything is so tied in nicely. Like the beds look like they're a ship with the kind of like sails as the bed posts. That even all the dressers look like they're wooden cargo boxes and things.
Very
So
cool.
it really is cool. It really is a fun room. They do have some design that they've linked into it that tie in Peter Pan, obviously, but to me, most of it reminds me more of the movies of Pirates of the Caribbean, like the way the rug looks. It almost, has the same color schemes and everything, and just a lot of little details. It's really an amazing looking room. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see it with the ship in the back and everything. Yeah, pretty cool. We'll post that on the YouTube video.
Right.
Yeah.
So really cute room, really cute design, and I know a lot of kids and adults, have a pirate side, and you might want to consider something.
Well, we talked
like
about
this.
immersive vacations last week. Maybe doing something like a pirate day or a pirate vacation, and that would tie right in with it. Right?
Exactly. So kind of to sum this one up, I would just call, like if you were to put it all in one word at the Caribbean, it's fun. It's just a lot of fun, and you feel that excitement when you're there.
Very cool. Yeah, it looks great. And I've never stayed there, but it definitely is interesting.
Right.
For sure.
So the next one we want to venture over to is Port Orleans, and that has like two sides. There's Riverside and French Quarter. So we'll talk about Riverside first. That's the larger area of it. But even within there, you have different styles of the buildings where the rooms are. So you have some that look like stately
mansions
plantation mansions. And then you have others that look like cottages, but they just all tie in that romance of Louisiana, and so that's also, as I mentioned, the larger one. So that's kind of the hub of where you might find a lot of activities compared to the French Quarter side. So the other thing that makes this one unique is that it is dog friendly. So it's one of their dog friendly resorts. And it's another one that has fishing. It's catch and release fishing hole. Again, they have the evening campfire and movie under the stars. They actually call it the campfire. Let me say it rightly. The campfire on the bayou.
On the bayou.
On the bayou.
Going down the bayou.
So this one, and we've talked about this activity in the past, that they do have the horse-drawn carriage that takes you for like a 25, 30-minute ride through the whole resort. And that is a beautiful thing to do.
Sure.
That's really, really fun. And they, as I said, they also have one sit down or one sit down, one table.
I call it that all the time. I don't know why. Yes, it is table service. I call it sit down restaurants too. I guess you can sit down even at the quick service restaurants, whatever. But I know why you would go to that, because I do the same thing.
Oh my God! So they have one table service. It's Boatwright Dining Hall. It's beautiful. We've eaten there many times. We really enjoyed that one. They also have a food court, the Riverside Mill food court as well, right there. But one of the things that we really enjoy there is one of their lounges. It's the River Roost Lounge. It's really pretty inside of that lounge. You know, it has like a really large glass mirrored area by the bar. I mean, again, it brings in that warm charm of Louisiana, but we go there for the entertainment.
Yeah. Which we I think you knew a little bit about it. I didn't know much about it, but we were invited there by Rob and Kim, you know, from the Hoopty Duo and the JTA, the JTA Temple Archives podcast. And they there, and we had the best time going to see Yeehaw Bob Jackson.
Exactly. So that's really a super fun place to go. I know that is definitely one that's not open right now. But once it is, it's something you'll want to, take part in for sure.
Definitely an entertaining evening for children of all ages, by the way.
Exactly.
I'll probably add the video to this on the YouTube of me running up and down the bar like a lunatic at Yeehaw Bob's request. So you can check that out.
It's just, I guess the best description it would probably fall under as a vaudeville kind of a show. But in reality, like you said, it gets everybody or most obviously if you're not one to want to get up or moving around, you don't have to. There's no pressure. But, he really does try to involve the whole audience.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. The rooms, they have, kind of that warm charm to them as well. More subtle kind of things. They do incorporate the Princess and the Frog, but it's not like shouting. It's very subtle things that you see around there that are fun to explore in that room.
Nice.
Yeah. Again,
it's been a long time since we've stayed there, but we enjoyed it when we were there.
I think I've stayed there probably more when I several times when I lived in Florida. It's a place that I would go to.
Yeah, I've stayed there once with you, and I enjoyed our stay there. Yeah.
Right. Now, they also have a few special rooms that they call the Royal rooms. Mm-hmm. They're stunning and opulent, and I'm going to let you see that.
Yeah, that's pretty stunning and opulent.
It is.
Those are good words for it.
It is. So, like, their curtain area is, very stately looking and everything, and all they bring in a lot more colors that you associate with royal, so like blues, dark blues, royal blues, golds. But those are really special rooms, for sure.
Looks like it.
Yeah, so that would actually be, and their chandelier's really nice, the carpeting is beautiful, so that really makes that a stay there pretty special. And so it's kind of fun that they have those there. So, all right. Shall we move on to the other side, the French Quarter?
Yes. Let's head down to the French Quarter.
And that has more of a New Orleans type of feel to it. So
kind of a Bourbon Street
area. Exactly. Yeah. French Quarter style, because it's called the French Quarter. So you'll see gas lamps, wrought iron fences, big Mardi Gras characters, and and cobblestone streets. I mean, anything that you can think of Mardi Gras, you see it right there. Especially in the central area as well. It does not have a. I was going to say sit down. It does not have table service, but it is close enough to go to Boatwright's dining hall. But they do have the quick service there. And let me tell you, from morning till the wee hours at night, you can get Mickey-shaped beignets.
Oh, well, sold.
I know, right?
And the best thing about it is, one, of course, everything tastes better when it's Mickey-shaped, but also there are no calories when it's Mickey-shaped.
Sure,
So
that's
you can
right.
have as many as you want. Won't gain a pound. Yeah.
So whether you want them
That may or may not be true.
I know. We all know the truth. So whether that you want to have that as your breakfast or a mid-morning snack or even dessert, they also create sundaes with them and in the evening time. So you can definitely get your fill of beignets, and adorable as they are, being Mickey shaped. I know.
It's a winner right there.
Exactly. So we were talking with some of the different activities that they have at these resorts. One of the real interesting ones, and we haven't participated in it, but it really sounded kind of intriguing. It's called Painting on the Bayou.
Oh.
And they do have this weekly on Wednesdays. It's at the what's it called? Sasagola Floatworks. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Sounds good to me.
Sasagola.
Just say it confidently, and then everybody, anybody who doesn't know what it is will believe that that's what it is.
So that's where their food court is. But anyways, they do this on Wednesdays, and it's $35 plus tax for a person. They said it doesn't matter what your level of talent is for artistry, that they'll
That's good.
make
If I'm
it
going to be involved because I'm not a very good artist.
make it fun for you. But it really sounded fun to me, Yeah. So now they have similar rooms to the Riverside, but just more of the French feel, because it's called French Quarters,
Right.
So like the fleur de lis is throughout there is the motif, and just really subtle, kind of calming, and just very charming.
That's why I think of New Orleans. Subtle, calming.
Yeah, they have that big New Orleans outside, and in your room, it's just a lot more charming.
Perfect. Love it.
That is so funny that you say that. One of the other things, and I forgot to mention it actually with even with the other resorts that we've talked about so far, but what's fun to do and fun to see, and we've talked about this in the past too, is decorating your windowsill on the inside. And it's, like I said, it's fun to do that, whether you're putting stuffed animals or some, of the peel away appliques on the windows or whatever. It's fun to do. And then when you're staying there as well, walking through and seeing other people's decorations.
If it's a holiday season, put up
my
definitely
goodness,
for the different holidays. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of really neat. And that's one thing that's unique about their windows, that you can do that there and then be able to appreciate other people's decorations.
Right.
So.
A bit more closely. I mean, some places you can still see them. Like I know we've seen them at the Wilderness Lodge. They put decorations out in the balcony and such. And,
definitely.
But it's, obviously you're going to be walking by a lot of these windows as you're passing to your room. So
exactly.
It's much more easy to see, right?
Yeah. So pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't think you've stayed at the French Quarters.
No, only Riverside. I've only stayed there once with you.
Okay. Yeah. So I stayed at both, and the convenience at Riverside is better than at French Quarter, but for my preference, I just like the coziness. It just, again, yes, outside it screams, Mardi Gras, but inside it just feels much more calming, very cozy, homey. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah. All right. So now on to Coronado Springs. Why am I having such trouble talking?
Because we're doing a podcast. And I think I'm rubbing off on you because every podcast I have trouble talking. Just wait till we get to the lockout and I fail at that again after episode 120 plus,
Too funny. So anyways, this one, as a lot of people know, went through some major renovations and additions to it. And actually now when you look at it, it looks much more grand, much more rich looking.
Well, with the Grand Destino Tower, right? That was a big deal.
Exactly. So, and it has more amenities than some of the other moderate resorts, so like in addition to some of the other things that they have, they also have a 24-hour fitness center. They too have a volleyball court, but they also have nicer and more dining options, including more table service.
Especially since they added the Grand Destino. They really upped their game food-wise and lounge-wise there, yeah.
Right. So, so they have a range. They have like a sports bar and grill in their lobby, as well as some other table service ones. And then they also have Toledo's, which is their tapas steak and seafood restaurant on the top of the resort. So where you get great food, elegant food in a great setting and views up there. So like I said, it's a vast amount of options that you have. And they also have like a lakeside dining, which gives you some areas to view outdoors on their lakes. Very there. Nice. Yeah. So that's called the Lakeside Bar and Grill. What's really nice is after you eat there, you can go outside and they have some other areas that you can sit. One has like wind chimes and, seating outside there for their lounge. And then there's another area that has like a fire pit. So, different options to take in when you're out there as well.
Very cool.
So as with Port Orleans French Quarter, they too have an art program. It's called Colors of Coronado. I want to say Colorado. Colors of Coronado Painting Experience. It takes place on Mondays in the Dahlia Lounge, and this one is $50 a person. So, but it's a nice activity that you could choose to do if you want to be out there. So in terms of their rooms, one of the things is that they are larger. Even their standard rooms are larger than what you see even at the other moderate resorts. So you do feel like you have that spaciousness. Nice. But they also have much bigger rooms, up to the point where they have executive suites that have a separate sitting area with a couch and chairs and TV, obviously, and a big dining room table and chairs. They don't have cooking facilities there, but other than that, they do have a lot of space if you wanted to have a room to that level of niceness, luxury. What I would say about this resort is the way that they have really expanded it and the renovations that they've done in it. If it wasn't for the transportation and the distance from the parks, this would probably be a deluxe.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
it's very close to
since
being,
they added the tower for sure. Yeah.
So, they still rely on bus service everywhere, and so that's the one drawback, I guess, that would make it be considered moderate because of that. But what you really see in this, it was truly designed to be a perfect location for conventions. And actually, if I were to attend a convention at Walt Disney World, this is the place
That's the place you want to do it?
Yeah, because you have the beauty and theming that you would appreciate from a Walt Disney World Resort. You have a lot of different activities that you could do, a lot of different places to go there and experience, and you're not as convenient to the parks to be taunted.
Not teasing. Not like if you're at the Contemporary, the Magic Kingdom is just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
It's like, can I sneak out of that session and walk over there? I know. So that's what I think makes it really convenient for, conventions, meetings, and things like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But yeah, the upgrades to their rooms is just spectacular. They have club level suites. Like I said, so you can get bigger rooms. But as I mentioned, even the standard is larger than most moderate resorts. So kind of convenient there.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And I know we just mentioned a little bit ago about Rob and Kim LeBarian, the Hoopty Duo review podcast. They did a review of the Dahlia Lounge, and I think it was it Toledo Tapas and Steakhouse?
Yes.
Steak, whatever the name of it is. They did a review of that. So if you want to know what those are like, definitely go search out their podcast, because they did a great job reviewing it.
They did. They made it sound really yummy. Yeah. And they even talked about their cocktails that they experienced there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So all in all with this resort, again, this is massive in the number of buildings and the layout. So that it can be great. Like I said, depending on why you're there. Again, if you're looking for a room, you might want to consider, if you're going to be park heavy, a room near where there's bus stops or near the front. Because it is pretty large and expansive. And so that's the one thing that, like if you're with kids and they get anxious, like I want to get to the park, this one's going to be a little tougher on that in terms of time, or time that you have to plan on, because even if you get on at the bus first, like by the lobby, you might have others.
Right.
You'll have to experience other stops along the way before it even goes. And the same thing at the end of a long day, depending on where your stop is, you might have to go through a lot of
Yeah, it's definitely something to account for in virtually all of these moderate resorts.
Right,
The difference in transportation timing that it takes to get to many of these different spots.
And so the next thing I want to say about it is not to say it's an impossible resort to deal with, but it's something to consider. So if you're with little ones, or if you're traveling or yourself have issues with ambulation, and I've gone with my mother who has some challenges with walking at time. This can be a challenge.
Yeah.
This resort can be a challenge because of that. Like your room, even to the bus stop, might be far, or if you want to experience some of their restaurants and you're not near the main hub, you're going to have a trek.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing, but it's just something to consider.
Right. Might be better resorts that, even as long as you don't mind paying the parking fee, that you may want to rent a car or bring your own car for.
True. Exactly. So, all right. So the last category of the moderate resorts, or the last one in that category, are the cabins at Fort Wilderness, which we have done multiple times.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorites for sure, because of all the conveniences that it brings. So again, it's tied in with theming, and I know we've talked about it even recently in terms of our immersive experience. It just has that charm of a cabin, of a log cabin.
They're basically trailers, but they feel like a cabin.
Right, they really do. And even on the inside, they bring in the wood. They have wood beams. They have high, ceilings.
Paneling. And
yeah. So they have definitely that theming throughout. The biggest thing that we experience as a draw for it is the full kitchen availability there. So you do have a full-size refrigerator and stove. You have a microwave that's also a convection oven if you so choose to cook. You have a dishwasher there as well. And so it provides a lot of the services that the villas have with the daily, and you get daily housekeeping services.
Right.
So that's kind of nice.
When things are normal.
Right.
And, it's nice because it is basically broken down like a 1-bedroom suite. You have the bedroom area, separated by a hallway where the bathroom is. And then that goes into a sitting area in the kitchen. So,
right. Yeah. Exactly. And the sitting area, has a big couch and, has other chairs around. You have a table on the inside that has like a bench and then some chairs. And then you have the picnic table, the large picnic table out on the patio porch area. You have a grill out there, a charcoal grill that if you use it, they clean it after then when they come through for housekeeping services, so you don't have to worry about removing the burnt charcoal, etc. So it just offers a lot of options for families. Like you said, it does have that woodsiness around there. So, even though you're next to somebody else, there's typically enough trees in between to at least feel like you have some sense of privacy.
It's a glamping feel.
It is.
Camping / glamping. I mean, you're in this really nice space, but you also have these wooded areas just outside the windows.
Right.
And you have a little space in between you and the cabin next to you. I mean, it's not a huge amount of space. You can see the cabins next to you, but you do have a little bit of space between you, so you feel like you have a little more privacy in that regard. And it's just really, it's a really nice feel. It really is.
It totally is. So it offers, as we mentioned, a lot of conveniences for, being indoors with having the, full kitchen. So like if you wanted to have either food delivered, to cook meals yourself, or to have, more availability for snacks inside or whatever, you can do that either through third parties or through Disney themselves.
Or if you're driving, just bring your own with you.
Yeah.
Pack up a cooler and bring it with you.
Right. Or you could, whether you want to Uber or, if you have a car, you can go to a local grocery store and bring things in, but it just provides that convenience in that regards. What's less convenient is the travel to the parks. So again, that you're taking buses, and in some cases you're taking multiple buses. Sometimes you're taking a bus and then a boat, but like I said, that's the one thing that's less convenient. But the great thing about it is you're at Disney, you're at Disney World, and yet you have comfort.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
and we like it so much, most because of the space, and that's one of the key things for us when we've been there. And now that we're, we joined DVC a couple of years ago, and we tend to do more of the staying at DVC resorts now. But that is one of the few places that we will still plop down cash for, even when we have DVC points, because we enjoy it so much. We went there with family just a couple of years ago, and they enjoyed it. We had a great time together. We brought even more family over and all sat out and had a cookout and sat out on our porch on the picnic table and had enjoyed a nice meal, and there's plenty of space there and everything, and the kids can go out and explore a little bit in the woodsy area around there. It's just a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. What I didn't mention is all these resorts have pools, obviously. What's unique to this one is that they do have horseback riding, they have archery, so you have some of that, and they have the fishing,
and boat rentals,
and things like that. They also have a playground area with also by the marina, and at night, not only is it fun there to be just around there, or if you got reservations at the Hoop-de-Doo Review, you can be out there. But it's also a spectacular way to see the fireworks, and they actually pipe in the music there.
Yeah, you're pretty close to Magic Kingdom, so you can actually see the fireworks pretty well from the beach there, and they do pipe the music in. It is a good spot for sure. They nestle the electric water patch in as well.
That's true. Yeah. That is true. And they were the original starting resort to have the campfire program with the s'mores, and also the movies Under the Stars. So that's where it all started, and it kind of expanded after that to many others. But
the camping field that's there,
right.
They would have a campfire.
Chippendale coming out there and everything. So, in terms of eateries, because it's cabins, they have also, they're kind of scaled back what they have. They do have a table service that is a buffet style for breakfast and dinner, and then on the weekends brunch. And then they have some more quick service at different locations there. So they have like mainly by the pool area, Meadows, by the Meadow.
Yeah, the Trading Post.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Can't think of words today.
It's okay. I can't say them any day.
Plus, I feel like I'm talking so rote, and I'm like, I'm trying to make it sound interesting. And
I find this all fascinating because there's a lot of these places I don't. I've stayed at the Port Orleans with you once.
Right.
I've stayed multiple times at the cabin, so I know a lot about the cabins, but I've not stayed at any of the other locations.
Right.
So, you have stayed at most, if not all of them.
Right.
So, it's good to have somebody who knows their stuff.
Thank you. But anyways, so like wrapping it up with Fort Wilderness, I do think they provide more room, and more conveniences than other locations. But as we said, as with any of the moderate resorts, the transportation is the one thing that separates it maybe from some of the deluxe.
Right. The one thing with Fort Wilderness also is that you can, it's easy to drive in if you did bring your own car or rental car. It's easy to drive in. And then you could pull up to the bus station or whatever and park there. Even better yet, if you don't mind spending a little more and they're available, renting a golf cart, you can rent a golf cart for for 1 day, 2 days, your entire stay, whatever. And then you can just zip throughout the resort when you want to go get food or when you want to get to the buses or to the boats or whatever. And that's a really easy way to get around. You know, they're not cheap, don't get me wrong, but it is very convenient for you and can, you know, speed up the process every once in a while if you do want to get to the parks or whatever, because you're not waiting for that extra bus to come by and travel all around the resort. So
that is a really good point.
There are other possibilities within Fort Wilderness anyways to help you get around if you so desire.
Right. That's true. You know, and those golf carts are, you know, it's best to make reservations ahead of time. You know, they do have some as a walk up, but when it's the busy time of year, they run out quickly. So it's always safer to reserve them for the duration. You don't have to reserve them for the entire duration, as you said, 1 day or 2 day or the entire stay. So that's pretty convenient. And plus, there are certain times of the year that they have parades that groups come together, especially during the holidays. But there are other times that you might just happen upon them, like we did, that we were seeing some for a wedding that I think it was for the bridal shower. They did a parade and the girls all dressed up as princesses and drove through the area, you know, car after car.
Decorated their carts with a theme to their whatever princess they were and everything. Yeah, it was great. They do a lot of that stuff there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It's a really fun resort.
During like the 4th of July weekend, they'll have various parades where people, you know, decorate their carts very patriotically and everything. So it's really, really fun.
Definitely.
Location.
Definitely.
So.
Like I said, if you can't tell, one of our favorite spots.
Well, like you said, you know, if you have a car, you pull it up right to your exact cabin. And so that's really convenient. Or if people coming to visit you, they can park there. They don't have to park, you know, on the main entrance and bus in or anything like that. So that's kind of nice too.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So I think I've covered all
That's really good
the
coverage.
Moderate resorts.
That's really good coverage of all the moderate resorts. We would love to know what you think of the moderate resorts. What's your favorite and why? I did put it out on the newsletter this week, and I did get one response from somebody who chimed in on their favorite moderate resort. It's from Scott in Minnesota. He hit us up on an email.
Thank you, Scott.
He said, "Hi, Tom and Michelle. I don't know what is a moderate resort, but I see Port Orleans in the photo. I did put Port Orleans in the photo because there was a very picture of Port Orleans in a photo in the newsletter. We've stayed at both Riverside and French Quarter and love them both. The pool at Riverside is incredible, but French Quarter has the beignets. I've actually walked from Riverside to French Quarter to bring some back to the room. They may not have all made it back." Shocking. And I don't blame you.
I get that.
Yeah, if you're going to do out the work, you should get the extra beignets. That's for sure. He also goes on to say, and it's so cool how they made the French Quarter grounds look like the French Quarter in New Orleans. A great place to take an evening stroll. I've attached a photo of my daughter at French Quarter from when we surprised her for her birthday. That's very cool. Yeah. I can't wait to hear your tips, especially Michelle's tips, because we all know she has the best tips for when we finally are able to safely return to the park. Scott in Minnesota. Thank you, Scott.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate you
That's
chiming
awesome.
in. So, yeah, that's
I'm glad
really
you
cool.
had that great experience there too. And it really is a lovely location.
It is. And definitely, even if you're not staying there, go out and check out Yeehaw Bob at some point because it's just an enjoyable time. So,
that is true.
Great look. Michelle always has the best looks at the parks, at the resorts, the best tips. She has it all. Best lists, even double lists. She does it all.
Power of suggestion, honey, really works, apparently.
So again, please let us know what your favorite moderate resorts are, and we'll share it on a future show.
Yeah, and I love that he shared a special story, that it was a unique experience at celebrating his daughter.
Yeah,
how sweet.
So cool. So that's our exploration of Disney's moderate resorts. So it's fun to dive into the Disney moderate resorts. Michelle always does such a great job of looking into these different things. And I know some about these, even though I haven't stayed at many of them. I know something about these Disney moderate resorts, but Michelle still always gives me some great information that I had no idea about. And even though we're Disney Vacation Club, and we're probably going to be staying most of the time in a Disney Vacation Club resort, some of the things she brought up about some of these resorts, either we'll visit them for various reasons, or who knows, maybe sometime when family's around that we may want to stay at one of them again. We love the cabins. We stayed there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know. And I know right now you can't get around to the quick serve unless you're staying at those resorts. But we've talked about it in the past, and we've experienced some of the quick service at some of these Disney moderate resorts, and they're fun because they do give you a little taste of some other type of flavors and spices and culture, and so it's really exciting to do.
Yeah, worth it for a stopover if there's a reason for you to be at some of these resorts, whether you be on the Skyliner and you're deciding you want to stop over a Caribbean beach for a little bit, or whether you're going to go see once this all comes back and is full-fledged, because eventually it's going to happen. You're going to go see Yeehaw Bob Jackson at Port Orleans, or if you want to head over to watch the fireworks on the beaches by Fort Wilderness Cabins and stop over at P&J's takeout. It really is. It's a lot of fun. All those and again, very well themed to all their resorts.
Right. Again, I'm big on the food, so whether you're talking the Caribbean flavors or the Creole and Cajun,
the beignets.
I know. So, I know we need to do once these, like you're saying, once we're back to more normal operations at the Disney parks and Walt Disney World, we really want to be able to have a dialogue about the restaurant or food hopping.
Yeah, food hopping. I love food hopping. Boy, we're always hungry when we record these shows, so it's always food hopping is always very enticing when we're.
We'll never learn to eat before we record. Apparently,
never learn. We'll never learn.
So today I put out a Twitter poll on the topic of our moderate resorts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we it's still running, but we have some preliminary responses as we're recording right now, and it looks like, although it's very close, Port Orleans is ahead.
This was for favorite moderate resort?
Right. Okay. Favorite moderate resort. Thank you. Because I don't know why people aren't, reading my mind here. So, and obviously for Twitter, you can only do 4. So Port Orleans includes both Riverside and French Quarters.
Right.
But it actually is the location that's right now tweaking ahead. Just
inching
ahead of Caribbean Beach. And so if you haven't already, if you're listening to it today and you want to participate in the poll, please do. And we also love it if you give us some of your reasons for why you've selected that, and we can talk about it next week.
Good. It's running through Monday at some point. So if you've heard this by Monday, you can still take part in it. And if you haven't, if you find the poll and want to respond to it and let us know what your favorite moderate resort is, we will comment on it next week.
Exactly.
That was a lot of fun. Let's get to our Disney stories of the week. A few Disney stories this week. Not a ton, but there were a few Disney stories this week, mostly involved around Disney Plus in some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to start with, we reportedly now know who will be playing a major role in a highly anticipated upcoming Marvel Disney Plus series. This from Variety.com. Tatiana Maslany is nearing a deal to play the lead role of the upcoming She-Hulk series on Disney Plus. And Variety has learned from sources. So it's not official yet. And this is a little bit of a rumor, but usually when things start to hit Variety, there's at least some significant talks going on.
Right,
and,
exactly.
This is a really good possibility of this happening. So, and by the way, by the time you've heard this, it may have already been inked. So we'll see. Just to let you know a little bit about the series She-Hulk, it centers on lawyer Jennifer Walters, who looks like will be played by Maslany. She's the cousin of Bruce Banner and inherits his Hulk powers after she receives a blood transfusion from him. Of course. Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. Sounds very Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Maybe it does, actually. Unlike the early years of the Hulk and Bruce Banner himself, when She-Hulk hulks out, Jennifer is able to retain most of her personality and intelligence and emotional control. So kind of more like if you remember Hulk from Avengers Endgame,
Right.
kind of she gets that right from the beginning. So if you can kind of look into what she might be like to start off. Maslany herself is perhaps best known for her starring role in the BBC America drama series Orphan Black, which ran for 5 seasons between 2013 and 2017. Maslany was nominated for 3 Emmys and a Golden Globe during the show's run, winning an Emmy for Best Actress in a Drama Series in 2016. She also recently appeared in the HBO drama Perry Mason. On the film side, she has appeared in projects such as Stronger, Destroyer, and Pink Wall. She-Hulk is one of several Marvel series in the works at Disney Plus. And of course, we are waiting to hear, I know this is early development, everything is kind of put stalled, but there's a lot of great series coming up on Disney Plus, and we're excited for many of them. Speaking of that, also appears we have confirmation that one of those shows will be debuting on Disney Plus before the end of this year.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is from Collider.com. Hidden amongst a long press release for Disney Plus's fall programming schedule was a very welcome surprise. WandaVision, the highly anticipated live-action series from Marvel Studios, is still on schedule to debut later this year. So that's exciting. Of course, that stars Scarlet Witch and Vision, and it looks like an intriguing show. On the,
can't wait.
They kind of played it out like it was a little bit like Dick Van Dyke, kind of a sitcom type series. So very different than pretty much anything you've seen from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, really excited about that. Moving on with this story, according to Disney, quote, with the first anniversary of Disney Plus on November 12, the service will kick off its second year with even more original entertainment premiering in late 2020, including WandaVision, the upcoming original series from Marvel Studios, end quote. So it appears that we don't know exactly when it's debuting, but it'll probably be after the anniversary of November 12th. So sometime November, maybe early December. But either way, at least we know that that's coming. At least it appears that is coming at some point this year, that all this stuff that's put a pause, all delays and so many things has not affected that show anyway.
Very excited. I was excited before and really happy to hear that it's still on schedule. Can't wait.
Yep. Can't wait for that one. Very, very exciting. Moving on again to another Disney Plus series, and we already talked about a little bit at the open of the show. The Mandalorian Season 2 trailer dropped this week, and it's spectacular, fantastic, great. I'm so excited for the show.
I know. It really does look amazing. It looks like it has some unique differences that we didn't see in season 1. So for, like settings and things. Right.
Yeah. And it's, look, it's funny because I was talking with Rob on the Jedi Temple Archives podcast this week, and we discussed we discussed a lot about it. If you want to go listen to that show, and we really kind of broke down the trailer more. Shocking for us.
It's great.
But we did break it down a little bit more. But when I was talking with him about it, I was saying, look, when we found out that The Mandalorian was coming on October 30th originally, I'm like, oh, that's still a ways off, but I can wait. I'm excited for it, but it's and then with and then I was excited for the trailer. But when the trailer dropped, I'm like, oh my gosh, it seems like it's so far away. When is this series ever going to get here? But at least the good thing is we can get to go back, and we're rewatching season 1. I think we're going to watch the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian again, and kind of go through that to gear up for season 2. As for the trailer itself, we got a glimpse of Mando and the child journeying to various different systems. By the narration, it sounds like the season we spent mostly trying to find the child's kind. Right. Now, is that the child's species, or is that the Jedi? Because they are discussed as this ancient race of sorcerers who used to battle against the Mandalorian, who are true. Part of the reason why the Mandalorians had that armor was because it was built to battle against the Jedi.
Right.
Back in the Old Republic days. And that means that we may be looking for some of the Jedi that still exist within the universe at that time. We know that there's Luke Skywalker, obviously, is around at that time. If you've watched the animated series, the Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels, you know that Ahsoka Tano is still around. Possibly Ezra Bridger is somewhere in the universe. Sorry if that's a spoiler alert for anybody for those shows. I guess it's not a spoiler alert. Sorry if that's a spoiler for anybody out there. And there's some casting rumors that would go along with that, including possibly Sabine Wren, which would totally make sense because the last person to wield the Darksaber, which we saw at the end of season 1, was Sabine Wren, at least that we know of. So it totally makes sense that she would appear in this. And we saw lots of great worlds that we haven't explored yet so far in this. Looks like we might get a visit to Tatooine. We saw a Tusken Raider out there. So we have to. There was a snowy planet, a water planet, just a couple of possible interesting systems. And I'm just, if you can't tell, I'm very, very excited for season 2 of The Mandalorian.
I think you summarized it really well. I don't think I have much to add to it. Like you said, with the scenery, that we're seeing different worlds, which the technology that they use really opens up that quite more expansive than what we've seen in most other series, especially series for the small screen. So it's great to be able to see that they're continuing to expand on that and what they bring to us for storyline.
Yeah. So very excited. Can't wait. Coming up very, very soon. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation, whether it be Disney Cruise Line someday with Soul Duo. Let's hope it'll be sooner rather than later. Of course, the Walt Disney World Resort, which is open. Disneyland Resort, which appears to be getting a little closer to open. We may find out more about that this week or next.
Right.
But
there's a lot of little hints here and there that...
Whatever the case may be, we try and give you some sort of tip that might help you. And we always start with Michelle. One, because she's wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, everything great in the world. But she also has the very best tips. So let's get right to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, sweetie. So my tip really has to do with our topic today with the moderate resorts. And one of the things that we mentioned was the location of your room can really impact, not totally, but have an impact on your vacation, and just giving you tips on how to help, have some control and look for how to best identify that. And so, first of all, if you've done your planning through a travel agent, let the travel agent know what things are critical to you or important to you. Like, do you like to be near a lobby, or an elevator or pool or whatever? Start by what things are important to you. Even if you don't have a chance to really look at the properties, you can let them know. But if you are more of a independent, you're going to do it on your own, there are a lot of ways to find out what the layouts are, where the room settings are, and that you can find that. You can, through some of them, and we're not giving free advertising for anybody, but there are some sites that will actually communicate to Disney for you if you're subscribing to them. And if you have questions about that, you can reach out to us. But also you can go directly to Disney. Usually about 3 or 4 days before your arrival, you could contact Disney to the resort and see if you can put in a request for a type of room. You could say a name of a room, like if you've stayed at a particular resort and you really like that room, you can communicate that with them, especially if it's associated with something that is very special. They like to take that into consideration, and making sure you're communicating to them that you understand that it's not a guarantee. You're not asking them to guarantee it. You just want to see if they can consider those options when they're doing the room assignment. And that holds true too if you're traveling with another party. Through the My Disney app, you can link those things, but if you're also, wanting to communicate some of those things, let them know. So
that's great. It was my tip for this week.
Well, that's so funny that you mentioned that, because I know you had told me the other day that you hadn't figured out your tip yet. So I have your tip. Because it's actually stealing from one of your tips and just expanding on it.
Yeah, well, I think we've both used that tip multiple times. I don't know who originated it. It's probably you. Oh. But
okay, well, you ready for me to fill in for you here?
Okay, go for it. Now she's going to take one my backup tip here.
Oh no, you can.
No, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
Because Michelle always has the best tips.
No, I'm just trying to help because you mentioned it the other day and I thought, let me
go for it.
I ran into this. Well, the reason I ran into this was because, some of you may know I do work in healthcare and I have staff that are outside doing COVID testing. And now we're outside doing a drive-through flu vaccine.
Yeah.
And here in Southern California, it's been extremely hot.
Yeah.
If you watch the news.
And fiery and
yes,
smoky,
fiery.
by the way, our thoughts for everybody that's been affected by the fires out here up and down the West Coast.
Exactly. So just wanted to share with you one of your tips about hydration and the importance of that.
What's my backup tip? Yeah. It's always my backup tip.
Oh, we're so synchronized.
Yeah, I guess so today.
And so I've really tried to promote and share this with my staff, and that is, obviously water is the most critical, and hydration is really important to keep your health and prevent you from having, issues related to heat exertion. So kind of tying in the science of it and how to go about it. So first of all, it's really recommended if you're in a very hot environment, which you could be at the parks where you're sweating a lot for
especially
hours.
In Florida, yeah.
Right. Is rather than drinking a whole bunch, every so often, is drink like about a cup or 8 ounces every hour, at least that, and that's the whole family. Don't forget the kids need to keep drinking too, because it's actually better for your body if you're doing that small amount, like I said, rather than doing, a whole one bottle, downing a 20-ounce bottle or whatever, every hour. It's better to do the smaller amounts more frequently. Excuse me. The next thing is also don't over drink at a, so like don't try to do, like 48 ounces or which would be equivalent to about a quart and a half, I think. Yeah. Because if you try to do that all at once, you're really impacting your body's electrolyte system, and you're reducing the salt concentration or sodium concentration in your body. So you don't want to do that because that could actually have some other repercussions for that. So the thing is, we always talk about in moderation, but keep it steady, keep it consistent, throughout the day. Don't let yourself wait till you're thirsty. Continue to drink every hour.
Yep. Stay hydrated and yes, do it consistently. It's the best way to make it last out throughout the day is, again, yeah. I mean, sure, there are going to be times when you're going to be really thirsty and you're going to want to drink, a fair amount, but it's not necessarily the best thing for you. It'd be better if you can consistently do it throughout the day.
Right.
So.
And it's not like you can't drink. And I said that wrong when I said 20 ounces in an hour. We want you to drink every hour.
Right.
But like if you're saying, okay, at breakfast, I'm going to drink a lot. And then, maybe at lunch, I'll drink a bunch. That's not the healthiest way to go.
Right. So, yeah. By the way, I think that 48 ounces, I think is 2 quarts. I'm trying to do my math in my head. 8 ounces, 16 ounces.
Going by the chef
32.
here.
Nope, you're right. It is. You nailed it. So my bad. So Michelle's tips, always the best tips. So I'm going to just piggyback on top of her tips because
that's really your
makes
tip.
me look better. Yeah.
Hydration is your tip. I just...
Well, also, look up. There.
Good job, baby.
Thank you. So that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about 2 things everybody loves: attractions and restaurants. Better yet, we're going to put those 2 things together. It'll be like the Reese's peanut butter cup of topics. 2 great things that go great together. We're going to speculate what attractions will make the best spot for a themed restaurant. You think about like the Blue Bayou restaurant within Pirates of the Caribbean, or the San Angel Inn inside, next to the Grand Fiesta Tour. Kind of think of those restaurants that tie into some of these attractions, and think about what attractions are out there and what restaurant and what the theme would be that you'd like to tie into it. We'd love your input on this one for sure. And we're going to come up with some ideas for ourselves.
Right, exactly. I'm looking forward to that topic.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a really, really fun episode.
Yes.
Not that they're not all fun, but I think this one's going to be really, really fascinating. And hopefully, some of these Imagineers we're going to be talking about will listen in and decide.
There you go. I'm still waiting to hear from Disney Plus with our Star Wars episodes.
All our pitches. Yeah,
series.
I know. Me too. I'm telling you, if some of these things start showing up in any way, shape, or form, we're going to be calling the lawyers. Just kidding. Anyway, we appreciate that you found us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
sign up for the newsletter.
No delay this time. Please sign up for the newsletter. We just have a lot of stuff going out there. The first place we put out the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame categories. We'll be reaching out with this category for next week's episode out there as well. It's just one more way to kind of be in contact with you, the listeners, the Hyperion Adventures that we love so much. It's just one more way to be in the Hyperion Adventures know.
Yes, and just to reassure you, we don't use your email address for anything else. We don't give it to anybody. It's just to send you the newsletter.
Yeah, and we don't clog up your inbox either. It's just once a week, usually on Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere midday. I try and get it out there to you, but we don't drive you crazy with 18 different emails every single week. So just to let you know. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We are also on YouTube if you want to see a visual of us doing these episodes. I think that we're going to try and get some videos possibly from Soul Duo for those songs that they did this week. Those will be appearing on YouTube as well. So if we can get them, they're very busy right now, especially with the new album dropping. Right. I don't know if they'll have time, but if they get a chance to do them, we will be posting those as well. And you can always find us on YouTube by doing a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe, and whenever we have a new video, you can find us right there. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, you can always hit us up at our email address, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. And we also love it when you get the word out to your friends about our podcast. It always is very much appreciative.
Yes, we appreciate that so very much. So that's it. Thank you for listening to another edition of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.